prescription drugs can cause school shootings, and this is how they do it. Usually they're drugs designed to make you less anxious and less agitated. But for a proportion of people, and it can be as high as 1 in 5 people, they can do just the opposite. They can make you more anxious and more agitated. And the agitation can include thoughts of harming yourself or harming others, so that you may be quite calm before you begin the drug and never have had any thoughts about being violent or dangerous towards others. But on these drugs, you can begin to get thoughts of harming others that you wouldn't have had before. That's one thing that can happen. The next thing that can happen is this. They can disinhibit you. They can make you feel who cares about things. Things that would usually make you feel anxious, like we don't, most of us, engage in crime or acts of fraud or various different things because we're aware of the consequences. We think to ourselves, well, what if people find out about this? This would be awful. On a prescription drug, you may have the same impulses, but not have the fear of the consequences, so that you're more likely to go on and do things that people might have thoughts about but would never do. And the third thing is this: on a prescription drug, you can become psychotic. You can hear the voice of God say to you, that man over there in the street, I want you to kill him. And if you think it's the voice of God, well, you have to obey what God tells you to do, so you go ahead and do it even if you know it's wrong. "90% or so of the perpetrators, as they're usually called, who've gone on to kill people in this way, have been on antidepressants or mood stabilizers or other drugs like this. Critics of the drug, of what I'm saying to you now, will say that actually it's untreated illness that causes people to become violent. If that was the case, at least half of the people who are engaged in school shootings should have been mentally ill but untreated. But this isn't the case. Almost all of them are on treatment. When things like school shootings or other acts of violence happen on an antidepressant or a mood stabilizer or a statin, the regulators will look for any other possible reason why this could have happened. They will not blame the drug, nor will the company, nor will any of the academics that are linked to the company. And the second thing is that these things aren't investigated in clinical trials. And unless things are investigated in clinical trials these days, many people say that it hasn't been shown that the drug could actually cause the problem, when in fact we've got compelling evidence that these drugs do cause a problem, in that people go on the drug and they become violent, and they stop the drug and the problem clears up, and they go on the drug again and they become violent again. This is absolutely conclusive evidence the drug can cause a problem. But as I say, regulators won't concede this. You've got to stop depending on the regulator, like Health Canada or the FDA in the United States, or the MHRA in the UK, or the EMA in Europe, to tell you when a drug is causing a problem or not. Doctors who are treating people with these drugs and see the problem happening need to make up their own minds about whether the drug is causing the problem. People who are on the drug and are sure of the problems that it is actually causing them need to be very vocal and say, look, these drugs cause me a problem. In risk.org, what we're trying to do is to get people to report problems like this, so that we can make you aware that if you've had a problem like this, you're not the only person that has had the problem. It becomes a lot easier to believe that the drug has caused you a problem if you become aware that there are hundreds of other people out there who have found the same thing on the drug that you're on. It becomes harder for doctors then to deny that your drug could have been causing the problem. So one of the big ways that we can make a difference here is if people report to risk.org that they believe that they became violent or aggressive on the drug that they were put on.